When the Golden Girls first aired in 1985, nobody expected for women in their golden years to shake up television, but they did, delivering comedy, heart, and some of the most iconic moments in sitcom history. Yet behind the laughter, not everything was as sweet as cheesecake. There were backstage feuds, shocking secrets, and one scene so bold it was considered scandalous in the 80s and later pulled from streaming. Was it too far or ahead of its time? Let's dive in. When the show premiered on NBC in September 1985, expectations were modest. Saturday night wasn't exactly prime TV real estate, but the series exploded in popularity right out of the gate, ranking number 3 in the Nielsen ratings after its very first episode. Created by Susan Harris and produced by Paul Jungerwood, Tony Thomas, and Harris herself, the sitcom mixed sharp humor, relatable storylines, and undeniable chemistry. Week after week, audiences tuned in to see the lives of four older women navigating love, family, and friendship. The cast was unforgettable. B. Arthur as the sarcastic and sharp-tongued Dorothy, Betty White as the sweet but hilariously naive Rose, Rue McClanahan as the glamorous Southern Belle, Blanche, and Estelle Getty as Sophia, the wisecracking mother with the best comebacks in sitcom history. Critics adored it. Fans worshipped it. Awards followed quickly: Emmys, Golden Globes, and eventually a place in both TV Guide and the Writers Guild of America's lists of the best shows ever made. What made the Golden Girls stand out wasn't just the comedy, it was the heart behind it. The show dared to prove that older women could be vibrant, witty, messy, complicated, and above all, entertaining. That was a radical idea in the mid-1980s, when Hollywood often sidelined actresses once they passed a certain age. Instead of fading quietly, these women owned the spotlight. The premise itself was deceptively simple. For single women sharing a house in Miami, Blanche owned the home, and when she posted an ad on a grocery store bulletin board, it brought Dorothy and Rose into the mix. Soon after, Sophia, Dorothy's quick-witted mother, moved in when her retirement home burned down. From there, the magic unfolded. Each episode typically followed a rhythm. A problem arose, whether family drama, romantic heartbreak, or an ethical dilemma, and by the end, it circled back to the kitchen table. That kitchen became the show's beating heart, where late-night talks, confessions, and countless slices of cheesecake turned into some of the funniest and most touching moments in sitcom history. And then there was the cast. In 1985, Betty White and B. Arthur were both 63. Estelle Getty was 62, shockingly younger than B, though she played her mother, and Rue McClanahan was 51. Together, they proved age wasn't a limitation, it was power. It's impossible to think about the series without hearing "Thank you for being a friend." But here's the twist: that wasn't the producers' first choice. They originally wanted Betty Midler's song "Friends," but it was simply too expensive. Instead, they turned to Andrew Gold's track, recorded by Cynthia Fee, for the show. The rest is history. The show may have looked seamless on screen, but behind the scenes it was anything but ordinary. B. Arthur hated shoes so much that she had a special clause in her contract, allowing her to walk around barefoot on the condition she wouldn't sue if she got hurt. She also despised chewing gum and birds. Rue McClanahan, on the other hand, loved Blanche's glamorous wardrobes so much that her contract guaranteed she could keep every outfit. Once filming ended, imagine having Blanche's entire closet at home. But not everything was playful. Tensions simmered between Betty White and B. Arthur. Their personalities clashed. Betty was bubbly, chatty, and loved engaging with the studio audience, while B preferred to stay focused and reserved. Betty later admitted B wasn't too fond of her, saying her constant positivity actually annoyed B at times. Still, the tension never derailed the show. As Rue later put it, "We were damn funny, and we did it together. That's what counts." Casting the Golden Girls came with plenty of surprises. At first, Betty White auditioned for the role of Blanche, while Rue McClanahan read for Rose. But producers quickly realized the roles were reversed. Their personalities fit perfectly the other way around. That one decision gave the world the sweet, scattered charm of Rose Nyland and the bold glamour of Blanche Devereaux. Even Sophia Petrillo wasn't supposed to be a main character. She was written as a guest role, But after Estelle Getty scored incredibly well with test audiences, producers promoted her to series regular. Despite suffering from severe stage fright, Estelle turned in some of the sharpest performances on television, making Sophia unforgettable. Guest stars also left their mark. A young Mario Lopez appeared as a student, while a pre-famed George Clooney played a police officer. The most surprising cameo? Quentin Tarantino, who dressed as an Elvis impersonator at Sophia's wedding. His paycheck from reruns helped him survive financially while developing Reservoir Dogs proof that even future icons sometimes start in unexpected places. The show had plenty of quirks too. More than 100 cheesecakes were eaten on screen, though B. Arthur hated them. Rue's southern drawl wasn't in the original script, it was her own choice. Estelle Getty even had a facelift, forcing makeup artists to spend hours aging her up again. And before television fame, B. Arthur served as a staff sergeant in the U.S. Marines. Even royalty adored the series. In 1988, the Queen Mother of England invited the cast to the Royal Variety Show, while Princess Diana reportedly watched reruns with Freddie Mercury, champagne in hand, inventing their own cheeky dialogue. But for all the laughter, one episode stands out as the most controversial in the series' history. Season 3's Mixed Blessings. Dorothy's 23-year-old son Michael introduces his fiancée Lorraine, a 44-year-old black woman who is also pregnant. The storyline tackled both interracial relationships and age gaps, already bold territory for 1988 television. But the controversy came from one moment. Blanche and Rose enter the room wearing mud masks, and Lorraine's mother briefly mistakes them for being in blackface. Rose tries to brush it off with a joke about Soul Train. At the time, it was written as comedy. But decades later, given the painful history of blackface in America, the scene struck differently. In 2020, Hulu pulled the episode entirely, sparking backlash from fans who argued the characters weren't in blackface at all. It was just a mud mask. Journalist Amani Gandhi summed up the frustration, tweeting, "Dorothy, Rose, Sophia, and Blanche are the least problematic white women in all of television." But that wasn't the only eyebrow-raising moment. Later in the episode, Sophia bluntly asks Lorraine's mother about black men's sexual prowess. What followed was a mix of awkwardness, stereotypes, and uncomfortable laughs. At the time, it was daring television. Today, it feels problematic. Eventually, Michael and Lorraine decide to elope, while both families reluctantly agree to put their differences aside. The episode was meant to spark conversations about race, love, and family. The show remains timeless. Its finale in 1992 drew over 27 million viewers, ranking among the most watched endings in TV history. Decades later, it still inspires memes, marathons, and fan devotion worldwide. The series wasn't just funny, it was fearless. It tackled taboo subjects, celebrated friendship, and reminded us that life doesn't end when you turn 50. And maybe that's why it endures. Because at its core, The Golden Girls was about love, respect, and for unforgettable women who taught us that no problem was too big when you faced it together. With cheesecake by your side. So, what's your take? Was Hulu right to pull Mixed Blessings? Or was it simply an overreaction? Should classic shows like The Golden Girls be judged by today's standards, or remembered in their own time? Share your thoughts below, hit like, share this video with friends, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories. Thanks for watching.